Hello there folks, I'm RJBTV, and welcome back to what is going to be game number 2 between Burgersasu and Christmas Eve. In game number 1, we saw that Burgersasu took some lethal amounts of damage before he could bleed out to Christmas Eve's very strong attacks on his economy and his main command center. Burgersasu struck with a counterattack, and the counterattack managed to take Christmas Eve down once and for all. Christmas Eve could not overcome Burgersasu's expertly timed use of a single window of opportunity. He couldn't fight him back, and the win for game number 1 went to Burgersasu. The win for game number 1 went to Burgersasu. So now we're in game number 2, where Christmas Eve starts out with a pylon in the front, which looks very much like something that Rabbit would do. This is really a Rabbit-esque move. Pylon all the way in the front. He's gonna probably build a row of triple gateways there in the front to go for a rush on Burgersasu. This is very much like a mid-gate strategy, but the gateways are still back at home in your base, which is a little bit safer than having them out in the middle. Plus, it doesn't give away your plan, because this Overlord is scouting the middle there for Burgersasu, aiming and intending to see if there are gateways on the middle, because a lot of players like going for gateways on the middle. So Burgersasu, of course, sends the Overlord to the middle to see if there's something there, and he concludes nothing's there, which means he is going to probably go for a low sunken count at his choke. He's gonna kind of lowball his defense, because he's probably assuming there's not gonna be a rush coming at him. And oh boy, is he going to be wrong. Everything so far looks normal. Went for the hatchery, pool, drone, Overlord, hatchery number 3, and then Overlord spawns, and he's going to build 2 drones, and after those 2 drones, he's going to save up 2 larvae. Wait, well, he went for the pool before the hatchery and the choke? This looks different than it should. He's going to go for Zerglings anyway. So even though he doesn't scout the gateways on the middle, he is still assuming Christmas Eve wants to rush. He's going to go for 8 Zerglings in total, with 2 Zealots already on the way. It's going to be 8 against 2. And of course, 8 Zerglings is way better than 2 Zealots, because you only need 3 Zerglings for every single Zealot. So he's got a surplus of 2, sunken on the way in the front, but more Zealots are soon to be arriving on the scenery in the front as well. And the sunken in the front has taken a lot of damage. Gets a pretty good surround on the Zealots, but the Zealots have... Christmas Eve has some really good micro, plus the 1 probe in the mix really is helping out Christmas Eve so much. The 1 probe. Like, he could have even used 3 probes. You could even use 3 probes to turn the tide in your favor with these battles here on the middle. So we have 4 Zerglings going for a backstab attack. Something in front is going to die, but another one finishes up just on time. 3 Zerglings are there to defend. More Zerglings are on the way back at home. And the Zerglings are going straight for the probes. There's no forts there yet in the back, so he doesn't have cannons to protect himself. He's going to lose a couple of probes, but Zealot is there defending quite well. Zealot there in the back of Burgersasu's base, also going for an attack there on the drones. If Burgersasu loses drones, he is going to be done for. He's on a very low amount of drones, and so is Christmas Eve on a very low amount of probes. He gets in there. Zealot's not really doing as much as he would like to. They're killing Zerglings though. And killing Zerglings means that Burgersasu has to make more Zerglings. So at the moment, Burgersasu really is forced into producing Zerglings, which he rather would not do. He would rather, of course, produce drones instead of Zerglings, because every single Zergling you build, every pair of Zerglings, means 1 less drone, which means your economy slows down a lot more. Whereas Protoss can just keep on producing probes on and on and on, while also attacking at the same time. So it keeps forcing these Zerglings out of Burgersasu. Now Burgersasu is going to try to keep this choke alive. Sunkets are morphing a little bit late. That's purely because his economy is so low. His economy is so small, so slow. Zealots are getting on top. I think that Christmas Eve has this game won by this point. Because look at this, how many Zealots he gets in there. All because these 2 Sunkens were too late. Burgersasu built a lot of Zerglings, but the 2 Sunkens in the front were too late. The Zealots got in, took almost no damage. They're all still alive. They lost their shields, but they're all still alive. And there's no amount of Zerglings that Burgersasu can now make with the available larvae to kill those zealots is not gonna work. He's won. Christmas Eve has won the game. Like, this is the nightmare scenario. Drones are fighting along with the Zerglings, but the drones want to be mining. The longer these zealots stay here, the further behind Burgersasu falls. It's only gonna get worse and worse. There's no coming back from this one. Drones once again unstacking, more Zerglings around the way. He's got more zealots there on the middle waiting to strike and just walk right into this base. The zealot control here from Christmas Eve is really good. Manages to minimize the damage he takes while trying to maximize the damage he deals to Burgersasu. Zerglings, if Zerglings get countered by a good zealot micro, the efficiency of Zerglings drops dramatically, and he's even lose. Oh, the damage is so damn high. We're 5.5 minutes in, and he only has 10 rounds. Now, of course, Christmas Eve only has 21 probes, but he has a lot of zealots as well. Supply difference says everything you need to know. It's 15 against 47, 3 times the amount. And yeah, Burgersasu taps out. Christmas Eve says a GG for him, and we're gonna go to game number 3 here, because that game was very short, and I think it's about time that we go into game number 3 to finish off this video. So yeah, that game, that was just pure pressure, and I think it really comes down to the moment where Burgersasu split off some of his Zerglings to go for a counter-attack on those probes. And while he did kill some probes, losing those 4 Zerglings... Oh, I just threw my mouse onto the floor. Just give me a second. I wanted to grab my mouse and I threw it right onto the floor. Okay, game number 3. My mouse still works, it's still completely fine. But yeah, I just accidentally threw it on the floor. Okay, so what happened was Burgersasu split of 4 Zerglings while defending to try and go for a counterattack to try and distract Christmas Eve, but Christmas Eve defended with only a single zealot and some probes, which, yeah, he lost some probes, but if those 4 Zerglings were there to defend, I think Burgersasu would have survived that attack, or at least took a whole lot less damage, because having more Zerglings, of course, means it's easier to defend. Having less Zerglings, of course, means that you're gonna lose your Sunkens and Zerglings back at home much faster than if you had more Zerglings. It's all simple numbers. The superior numbers win most of the time. It's sometimes StarCraft is a very basic game. Just count the numbers. In this case, 3 Zerglings equals 1 Zealot. Whoever has a bigger number in that sense wins the exchange. You can micro, of course, to try and get the efficiency of the exchange on your side, but if it's a pure raw numbers game, it's 3-1. And if you don't have the numbers on your side, yeah, you die. That's as simple as it gets. You can try to rely on micro, of course. There are players who always try to maximize the efficiency by really getting the least amount of units while trying to use micro to get the most out of them. But you can only really guarantee that if your opponent has worse micro than you do. Because if the micro between 2 players is pretty much equal, as we can probably assume is equal between these 2 players, then relying purely on micro can really hurt you. Like a player like Brain has that playstyle where he really focuses on using his micro superiority to his advantage, because his micro is really good. But we also see him lose quite often because he relies so heavily on micro. He relies so much on min-maxing the efficiency of what he's doing. And sometimes you just die because you cannot min-max the efficiency in every single situation or against every single player. So we have a Nexus first there from Christmas Eve, a lot like what we saw in game number 1, and Burgersasu goes for a double barracks into a command center, so he has realized that Christmas Eve is probably not rushing him. Like, this 1 Zealot that is coming into his base does not count as a rush. It was a gateway Nexus into a forge into double gas there from Christmas Eve. Zealot is really just here to walk in and scout the base. He's gonna try to kill the SV, but the SV has a lucky move. Gonna kill 1 SV there in the back though. Yeah, that one gets a kill. Yeah, his control is good. He's not doing too much, knows his limits, and he's getting exactly what he wants with some pretty good movement. I mean, it's just Zealot Micro, but even Zealot Micro itself can sometimes be a little bit challenging. Sometimes it's easier to do if you're feeling in top condition, and some other times you're not feeling like you're in your prime shape. In that case, controlling the Zealot can become pretty difficult because at this point into the game, it is a really slow unit. So any move your opponent makes can really ruin your Zealot Micro. Because Marines are just as fast and SCVs are just a little bit faster than a Zealot. So a very early factory there from Burgersasu and a very early robotics there from Christmas Eve, which he's hiding behind one single cannon. He's getting a pylon there on the side and on the top as well. He's gonna have to get a couple more cannons right here. Because Burgersasu does like to try and break through choke points with units after he gets a very fast academy. He has the academy finished up, but it's only double barracks, and as I've said in number 1, double barracks does not have a lot of counter potential. We have the Zealots from Christmas Eve returning back home to try and fortify the choke point there by having 3 Zealots, 4 Zealots, plus a cannon instead of 4 Zealots, no cannon, or a cannon with no Zealots. Which is rejoining his units to get a stronger position to fight from. Now it's 5 Zealots. Robot number 2 on the way, Sylvadoon there in the back, still only on a single gateway, goes for a third gas. Third gas pretty much always means that the Protoss is not gonna go for a very heavy gateway style early. It means that they're going harder than ever on their technology. Like Temple's Archive is very early. Usually you don't see a Temple's Archive at the same time as a support bay, but right here we see a Temple's Archive at the same time as a support bay, which means he's gonna go very, very hard on the drops. Adds on 2 more gateways, and he's probably gonna stay in 3 gateways for a little while. Might be wrong, but usually with a triple gas, you cannot afford production from 4 gateways. It is already difficult to produce from 3 gateways on triple gas this early. He's got 35 probes, 9 of them on the gas. So let's say he has 25 or 26 maybe on the minerals, because a couple probes are building stuff around the base, like one there on the side, one at the gateways, one there building the pylon. Got a scan coming out from Burgersasu, who scans the front, sees the progression, sees the shuttle, and he decides to retreat back home. Because with a triple barracks build order, you cannot afford to lose Marines to risky movements. And while he's keeping them on the middle, he's keeping 1 Marine in the front as a safety measure. This 1 Marine in the front will see the Zealots leave, or maybe see the shuttle leave. And then he can try to intercept the shuttle or the Zealots with the Marines. If the Zealots come out first, he has to pull the Marines back. And he's actually already pulling the Marines back because he sees that the timing is already at 6:05. Usually at 6:05, the enemy starts moving out. And he was right. He is moving out, but it's a Dark Templar, not Zealots that are moving out, as a Reaver going over the top. So usually if by 6 minutes or 6:05, you don't see the shuttle or the Zealots walking through that choke point right there, at this level of play, it usually means pull those Marines back, start defending against the shuttle. But guess what? Christmas Eve is actually maybe intentionally playing some mind game. Now we do have a dropship there from Burgersasu going for a counter drop while this front attack is happening at the same time. This is a very fast counter drop, gonna hit before 7 minutes, flies in, got a couple cannons there on the base, got 1 on the right, 2 on the bottom. Tries to fly around, goes to the bottom side, but there's 2 cannons on the bottom side, 3 cannons on the bottom side, and the front attack is happening at the same time as well. He unloads a tank, tank's gonna shoot all those probes, hits some probes, hits a couple of probes. Let me just, I'm too slow. I wasn't having my hand on my mouse, I couldn't click fast enough. And there comes a Wraith. Very fast starboard trickery is allowed. Oh, they're dancing. He's misclicking. He's gonna kill the shuttle anyway, so that kind of stops Christmas Eve's attack on the front. He killed a supply depot that was part of a wall, but didn't really get in there deep. And the Wraith is very slowly gonna kill that. The Wraith is very slowly gonna kill a Reaver. Talking is difficult, bros. It's difficult. Shuttle number 2 on the bottom side, got some turrets there ready to defend. Will these shuttles be enough to intercept? There are some pathways here for that shuttle to fly in over the bottom side without dying. It was first the front. He pulled most of his Marines to the back, and that's because, well, now it's a triple barracks, but for a long time was a double barrack. Defense flies in over the bottom left corner, starts unloading, snipes both the shuttle and the High Templar. Templar is low, but Templar Stormer was too slow. died too fast. Dark Templar goes in as a turret in the front has been killed. Does he have a scan? I think he's got a scan. There's a scan. He kills the Dark Templar as well. Burgersasu manages to maximize the efficiency of his defense so far. So far, he's lost almost nothing, but he's killed a lot. He killed a lot of Zealots, killed 2 shuttles, killed a Reaver, killed a High Templar, prevented losing any economy, and he managed to do that on double barracks factory starport. Third barracks came out a little bit later, hasn't really been very effective yet. Yeah, he's played this with a very small amount of units. Just look at his base. Look at how few units he has. We've got like 10 Marines, maybe 10 Marines there on screen, and another 9 down the bottom. Shuttle comes in over the top side. He's only going to go in very deep. Templar on lows. Templar going to storm it as he's run to safety, and they do all survive. Even the Marines dodge the storm. There's some very good control there from Burgersasu. In the top corner there, this Reaver is doing a lot of work because he only has, pretty much only has Marines. And Marines are terrible against Reavers. And because he has so few Marines, and a storm on the Marines, this Reaver Templar, this combination, is actually a huge problem for Burgersasu. One, he lost a lot of Marines. He's forced to keep his Marines away from a safe distance. Tanks have to relocate, which is not a problem, but the problem is that he's kept this top side a focus point for Burgersasu for a very long time, which means on this drop, coming over the bottom side, he's going to have an easier time getting in. But we do have a Wraith hanging on the bottom. Probably going to fly in over this pathway right here on the bottom left. That's the most preferred pathway, like this top right, top left, and this bottom left part. Those are the most often used pathways for drops against middle spawn locations. He's going to go for a top and a bottom attack. Going to use the Courser on the top to distract, maybe pull a Wraith away or something, or maybe he's going to pull the dropship away. Goes in over the bottom side as the Courser reveals itself, flies in, Marines are on location. Burgersasu responds, going to try to snipe his double shuttle, double trouble, Templar lows, Templar storms. No, Templar does not storm, gets both of them sniped just on time. Very quick and precise play there from Burgersasu. That's a really difficult thing to do. I would recommend you never ever try to target fire the High Templar before it storms because it's risky, and it can really only be done on like 16 turn rate or 20 or 24. If you're playing on anything below that, not gonna work. One drop here comes in over the top left of that base, snipes it with the help of Wraith's target firing and the Marines finishing it off. So Christmas Eve's base, what does it look like right now? It's got 4 Stargates, and let's say that's about 7, that's 11, plus 3, that is 14 gateways. At the moment, 3 still on the way. It's got triple forge. Yeah, he's gonna focus quite heavily on gateway shuttle drop playstyle. And we have Wraiths hunting for the shuttles there from the bottom side, finds one. He's gonna kill that one, that's 1 down, he's got us another 6. Oh, he's gonna get 1 more. No, oh, he fails, gets both of them, might even kill more of them. It's only 2 cannons. This is why a lot of players get like 4 to 5 cannons at the choke point to prevent getting their shuttle sniped like this. This is very good play from Burgersasu. He only used 5 Wraiths, but he kills 7 shuttles, or 6 shuttles, killed some units inside those shuttles, and he has slowed down Christmas Eve's plan of going for a big drop with Templars, Zealots, and Reavers. He's bought himself at least a minute of time by doing that, and he stole a minute of time from Christmas Eve as well, because Christmas Eve has been preparing for that big drop for over a minute, and now that big drop is not happening. That is the biggest and best thing that Burgersasu could have done this game so far. Using 5 Wraiths to buy himself over a minute of time of free, unopposed growth. Small move, huge effect. The timing was perfect. He punished him for his mistakes. And you can see already, he's adding on pylons and no cannons actually. So he's going to add more cannons in the front. He's going to instead build an observer, goes in with a frontal attack to pull units away from the back. Zealot attack in the front is intended to pull Marines away from the back. And at the same time, he's going to fly in with a drop, and he's going to unload on top of those Marines and try and storm them to death. Actually, no. Maybe they were empty. I think they were empty. That one puzzles me a little bit. Goes in over the bottom side yet again. Gets great storms on the front. There's a Reaver inside this. There's a High Templar in that one. Unloads the High Templar. Storms the Marine. Marines do dodge the Storm. Zealot gets hit by the Storm instead. Kills 2 Marines with a tank shot from this one and... yeah, just this one. This one killed 2 Marines. Yeah, nothing that Christmas Eve at the moment is doing has really worked out that well. All of his moves looked good, except that one move, the shuttles flying over the front and not really containing any units whatsoever, that looked a little bit wasteful because he could have instead mixed those shuttles and Corsairs with the real drop to try and make it harder to snipe the real shuttle with the High Templar. But he didn't, so that's a little bit of waste, but goes in with another frontal attack. You got a couple tanks there waiting to receive this attack in the front. It's Dragoons and Zealots drop on the top. Their drop gets spotted. No, it's Corsairs pushing structures away to reduce vision. It's just a mass attack in the front. Just a mass attack there from Christmas Eve into Burgersasu's base. 1 attack, almost as a level 2 attack. And 1 armor, almost. And level 1 shield also on the way. Also getting his air upgrades at the same time. Getting scarab damage and observer upgrades. But yeah, he's breaking through quite nicely. The entire front side has been exposed, is broken open. If he had more gateways and more units on the way right now, he could probably send in wave after wave and overpower Burgersasu, because Burgersasu's base is still quite small. Got 5 barracks, he's got a wide open choke, and he has, at the moment, 6 factories with 2 more on the way. So maybe there was an opportunity for Christmas Eve to just spam gateway units. Goes in with a drop. He wanted to focus on the drop. Kills 1 High Templar. Gets 2 kills with the SCV Storms. 2 kills on those SCVs. So the High Templars get in, but do not disrupt the economy meaningfully. Let's put it like that. No meaningful disruption of Burgersasu's economy. You got 2 machine shops, adding on 2 more. These are going to be vultures. No longer really producing Marines at the moment. His economy is on 77 SCVs. He's in a pretty healthy spot, and he has 9 refineries. Yeah, Burgersasu looks completely fine. Also, I like his new layout for his base, like a row of 2, walkable space in between, row of 2, walkable space in between. Even has a little bit of walkable space there next to supply depots. Usually people built the supply depots right there in this corner. He did not. But that aside, another drop there on the top. It's going to be Corsairs first to open up a little bit of space to allow the shuttles there on the top to get in. They're going to be escorting the shuttles. We've got a vision there from a drop on the top corner. We have vultures placing mines that can vision all over the map. We got the cannons in the middle being built. Snipes the probe just by pure chance. Goes over the top side there with its shuttle drop. This one time, Burgersasu just pull away. He's going to try to unload on top of the SCVs. He's running back and forth. Templar allows. Templar is ready to storm. Templar does not storm because he got killed right before it could storm. This is getting very, very, very close. Very close for Burgersasu. Once again, keeps the SCVs alive. Christmas Eve is doing everything in his power to try and take those SCVs away from him, but Burgersasu keeps saying, not here, not now. This is my hometown. Settles there from the front, gonna try to buy some time. Dragoons are in tow as well. Templars in the back. Templars in the back are probably gonna do the most work with their storms on those tanks. Gonna drop on the top, ready to go in. This one has to hit. This drop has to hit Burgersasu. Storm is coming down, drop over the top, drop unloads. He gets the High Templar. There's a Reaver in the mix as well. Templar shoots. Templar gets almost 20 kills there on that 1 High Templar. And the Zealot gets a couple more there on the top there. Got a couple SCVs on the gas. So in total, he killed about 20 SCVs. So that was a pretty good drop. And Burgersasu's economy is not that high. His minerals are not that high. He's even pulling some of the SCVs on the gas towards the minerals, and at the moment they're doing nothing, because he's focused on the front, focused on pushing through the middle before Christmas Eve becomes a little bit too big once again, because Christmas Eve just threw away like 70 supply in total with the frontal attack and the drop. Burgersasu is using this small little time frame where Christmas Eve does not have units present on the map to gain as much ground as he can, to place as many mines as he can, to try and do as much as he can while also rebuilding SCVs back. He's not rebuilding his SCVs back at home. He's not. He's gonna go for... He just wants to end the game right now. He is pushing. Burgersasu's playstyle has really evolved over the years. Like, in the past, he would first take this moment of attacking to also rebuild his base, but this time around, he's really just not focused on getting his SCVs back in order. He knows he has enough gas, because he only has 4 factors from the machine shop, 4 machine shops, and the rest is going to be vultures. He does not need a lot of gas at the moment. He's fine on the gas. He's fine on the minerals as well, because most of the SCVs on the gas move towards the minerals. There's going to be a double drop, one from the bottom, one from the top. One from the bottom gets sniped by raids. One at the top there does not get sniped, it does go in. This one might hit him all the way. Burgers has a response, pulls away, but that's a lot of units there on the scene, ready to storm, and he gets a lot of kills. Goes from 65 to 30. He killed every single one, except these couple ones there on the bottom running away. But he's also pushing through the front door. But the carriers have arrived, and they're finished. This could not have gone worse for Burgersasu. This could not have gone worse for Burgersasu. That double drop really did him in. It really did him dirty. Christmas Eve on the hunt there with the shuttle on the high ground trying to storm, but the tanks are moving away. Allows a couple more Templars going to try to storm, but splits up his units. Very nice split up there from Burgersasu. Manages to prevent any losses. I think he lost like 2 or 3 tanks, took some damage, which is also pretty bad, but managed to keep most of them alive to fight another day, to live another day. We have a gateway proxy base for Christmas Eve there on the 9 o'clock spawn location. We have some mines all over the place to give him vision, but he's not seeing this, and this is a problem. Carries on the middle there going for an attack. We have a Call of Goliath there on the scene. The raids are waiting back at home to snipe shuttles. He knows shuttles are coming soon. He cannot pull the raids from back home into the middle. I mean, yes, he can, because the shuttles are still inside of Christmas Eve's choke point. But Burgersasu does not know that. From Burgersasu's perspective, the shuttles might be coming in at any point. He cannot pull the raids to the middle. Plus, we have Corsairs. Now, we don't have an observer on the middle, but the Corsairs on the middle might give Burgersasu the impression that observers are present on the middle. So even if he wants to pull the raids to the front to help fight the carriers, he literally is under the impression that he can't, because raids are terrible against Corsairs. Gonna try to get, though, he's trying to lock down, but the carriers have a little bit more range than the Ghosts at the moment. Gotta draw their being prepared in front. That's a lot of High Templars. Gonna probably morph them into Archons, or just go for a really big ass storm drop all over the place. Goliaths arrive. How many carriers do we have here, actually? 7 carriers. It's not a very big, strong carrier force, which is why a small amount of Goliaths can fight back against it. It's really the Corsairs that finish this composition, because the Corsairs eliminate the air component, but also... Oh, he flies into the mines. Will these shuttles fly into more mines? That's the question. The Corsairs return back to the middle. The shuttles have not yet been detected. Disruption webs everywhere. That's very nice. Very nice. Buys him a lot of time. Kills a couple of ghosts to prevent lockdowns. Ooh, he flies right through the mines by pure chance. Now that is pure luck. That is just pure luck. Tries to go... Oh, gets the stasis on some Goliaths. The Burgersasu economy has recovered. He's putting workers back onto the refineries. Added on 2 more of those factories. Drop comes over the bottom side. Sees the drop, gonna try to snipe it. Gets 1, gets 2. Temples are loading. If he gets hit right now by a storm drop, it's gonna be disastrous. But he manages to run most of them SCVs to safety. There's still a little High Templar in there. Storms. Oh, loses 25. And on the middle, he is winning the fight against the carriers, though. And the raids do defend the backside, but that drop came at a very bad time. Now, 35 SCVs. 35 SCVs. He hit 65, so he lost 30 in total to those storm drops and to the zealots on the scene. That turned out way worse than I thought it would. For a moment, it looked really good, but he kills the carriers, which is great. And I think Christmas Eve is making a mistake here. He's not going for a switch into mass zealot and dragoon. He's instead going right back into carriers. And you know what? Carriers take a long time to build. So, because he's going for another round of carriers instead of ground forces, Burgersasu is being given another, I'd say 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half, to spend time on recovering. Yeah, just given time to recover. What I really like about this match specifically is the tempo is very high. Burgersasu is not wasting his time, so to speak, on playing super defensive. He's kind of keeping his units positioned aggressively. Forward positioning, forward posturing, forcing Christmas Eve, who has a lower APM, to focus on perhaps too many things on the map. While Burgersasu, being a faster player, can more easily play a style where he has to be all over the place. You know what? You know what? You know what? I think something is going on here with these shuttles. I just want to see whether they fly over the mines or not. Because they have to fly over mines at some point, right? Yeah, okay, he flies over the mines. He flies over the mines. He's not stream cheating. I felt something weird for a moment there, but he's not stream cheating. Definitely not. Double drop, one over the top, one over the bottom. Locks the one over the bottom down. And Templar's coming close. Oh no, the Templar's unloaded. Templar's getting close. Templar storms. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. And on the middle, he's losing his army at the same time as all carriers fighting against the Goliaths. Goliaths are target firing. They're on the carriers. But that was bad. Oh, he did not notice the shuttles unloading on the top. He did not notice the shuttles unloading on the top, and the Templars walking down. He did not notice. And he once again paid the price. He's still in the game. He's still in the game. But did pay a pretty expensive price for not noticing. Also found this proxy base, which is not being utilized at the moment. The game actually... Oh no! So Christmas Eve stormed his own probes with the Templar to try and open up supply space. But he went from like 83 or 73 probes down to 26. He might have killed too many probes. So if Christmas Eve doesn't win the game right here, right now, with a very big fighting force like this, then Burgersasu will win the game. So Christmas Eve is gambling on having more army supply than Burgersasu and winning the game with a huge, big final attack. And Burgersasu, of course, is planning on defending himself quite well. And if Christmas Eve loses like 1 or 2 rounds of units, does he unload? Reaver unloads, Templar unloads, Reaver shoots, it's low, Templar storms, Templar kills a couple of them, but not too many of them. Okay, he killed like... he killed a pretty good amount, killed like 20. Killed like 20, that was a pretty good drop. Pretty good drop. Pretty good drop. Burgersasu economy also down in the dumps. He has Dark Templars on the side. The carriers are not being protected by an observer. They're dying. Observers are coming in there to protect the carriers, but it might be a little bit too late. Christmas Eve has no gas. Has Christmas Eve crippled himself too much? Burgersasu's army supply, though, has dropped dramatically. We have a lot of gateway units in production. They're entering the front choke point there of Christmas Eve's base. You know what? I think Burgersasu is going to die very soon because this attack is coming right for his life, right for his neck, and he does not have enough to defend. The drop that just hit him might have actually just sealed the deal. Even though Christmas Eve is not trading efficiently, he just has a little bit more than Burgersasu. Just a little bit more. And by a little bit more, I mean 70 supply of more units, which is actually a lot. Triple lockdown there on the carriers, but it's not gonna really make much of a change. He's got no tanks in his base. It's all Goliaths, and Goliaths are pretty bad against Zealots and Dragoons. And while the Wraiths are also bad against the Corsairs, oh yeah, he's gonna die really quickly here. Christmas Eve's gamble on killing his own economy to have a huge army supply worked out perfectly fine. It worked out perfectly fine, but only because the drops hit Burgersasu twice in a row. Burgersasu let 2 drops slip through, lost most of his SCVs, most of his economy, could not keep up both the gas income and the mineral income to keep producing tanks, Goliaths, and whatever else. Plus, because Burgersasu was playing such an aggressively forward posturing game, he never built the appropriate amount of factories and barracks to be capable of keeping up with a Protoss that has 6, 10, 13 on the bottom, and another 7, 7, 15. Yeah, a lot of gateways. 14 plus 15. Almost 30. 29 to be exact. Yeah, you're not going to keep up with 29 gateways and 14 stargates when you only have 11 factories. One just died right there. You're not going to do it. You're not going to keep up. So yeah, Christmas Eve wins the game. Took a little bit longer than it should have, because I think he could have won a bit earlier. But yeah, he makes a pretty strong case here that he is, in fact, a very worthy opponent for Burgersasu. He's a very strong player. So far, I am liking what Christmas Eve is doing. He's kind of proving the point that you do not need an APM of like 250 or 300 or 350. You can play perfectly fine with 180 to 200 APM, because that's what we saw with Christmas Eve. He played 180 to about 200 APM for most of the game and played a perfectly fine high-level Protoss. I am impressed.